join me in a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Neighbors? Here. Young?
Here.
Dilling?
Here.
Beamsterboer?
Here.
Adamski?
Here.
Doyle?
Here.
Adrianson?
Here. Okay, first item is public comment. Chris Boswell.
I'll keep this fairly brief. I live in the Stonegate community that just finished in the last year or so. There's a large swath of land that's being turned over to the park district for a park to be built. Leonard, the builder of the subdivision, has dragged their feet on just about everything, in terms of finishing up the subdivision. They had graded the property at one point because it was previously a drainage issue, was flooding water into people's backyards and surrounding it. When they went to turn it over, the village asked them to regrade it because they didn't do it properly the first time, which of course we appreciate. We want it graded properly. But now they've left it as just a mountain of dirt again, which is again causing the same issue. We hold no power as a HOA anymore, being able to get them to respond to us because the village is who holds the bond, from building the community. So we're just asking, and I guess I would ask kind of status on closing out the bond, with them so that we can get this moved forward, as well as, assistance from the village to get any resolution on this, because they had previously planted grass and it was starting to at least look halfway decent, and then they tore it all up again, to regrade the property. So that's, I don't know if there's any information you have or anything.
There is, so for public comment, you state the comment and then we record it into the minutes, but we can address that. There's a lot of information that, I don't know, you might be missing or might not be aware of that Mark can help you with. Okay. So maybe he can grab your phone number, and then contact you. Would that be okay? Yeah,
I'm a member of the Master HOA Board.
Okay.
Our president's been, I think, speaking with you as well. And we just haven't, at least, Kyle has not really gotten any substantial information on when this is going to at least just get regraded where there's not a bunch of mountains of dirt sitting in the middle of the area, because it's again, as all this rain keeps happening, it's again pushing water into people's yards and up against doors and stuff. So we just wanted, a lot of the residents, the community are concerned about that. So
thank you. Jim Baltus?
Okay, good evening. I'm Jim Baltus. I'm the road commissioner of Manhattan Township. And the reason I'm here tonight is I'm here to find out the status of the agreement between Manhattan Township Road District and the Village of Manhattan as far as taking over the remainder of Baker Road to the west. Now, I'm sure this board knows there was an agreement made that I'm going to build that bridge on Baker Road. I'm going to rebuild that bridge. And once that is completed, it was an agreement that the village was going to take the remainder of the road over, because it doesn't make sense to split a half a mile of road and have two municipalities cover the same tracks. All right, we're wasting money there. So I spoke to the mayor 2 weeks ago, Mayor.
Mm-hmm. Maybe 3.
Whatever. And you said you were going to have that agreement for me again, May 28th.
You didn't get it?
Just June 4th.
You got the agreement, though. We just didn't pass it as a board. They had some more questions.
When did
Sorry, you can make your statement. I got to keep on track. I apologize. But if you want to make the statement, then we...
Well, I haven't gotten the agreement yet.
Your turn. Well, we could talk about this.
Well, I'll answer your questions now. I mean, were there questions on I'm taking the road over?
I know John was gonna meet with you.
Yeah, John had called me and said he had some questions for me, so I thought it'd be easier for me just to come here, speak to the entire board. If the board has questions, let's get it out in the open.
I mean, I'm fine if you guys want me to answer real fast. I mean, I kind of looked at it really fast, and it looks like that the village would be taking over almost about 3/4 of a mile of road.
6/10, John,
When it's
yeah.
all done.
When it's all done.
I think one of the questions was how far you were paving before and after the bridge? How many feet, do you know, or is that yet to
The
be?
project is, when did this question come up?
Last board meeting.
Well, while I'm looking this up, it's kind of surprising.
The agreement's already, it's Cass Winland, I believe, I mean, I don't know if you want to, we're not supposed to really debate this right now, but,
Well, I talked Cass and he said it was good, right?
yeah. Yeah, the board just has to approve it.
Okay,
So it'll be on the June 18th agenda, and like I said, we're going to get some more information from the plans, and then let the board know this is exact details of how much is going to be redone other than just the bridge, because I believe the bridge was 70 feet long, I could be wrong, but they just want a little more description, it doesn't have to be a copy of your plans.
the bridge deck is 171 feet long. It's going to cost the township approximately $3.2 million to build this bridge. All right? The thing that bothers me is we've had this agreement.
Mhm.
In November of 2023, this board agreed to take over that 4/10 of a mile. So I worked with you guys, and there were no questions.
To get the four-way stop.
To get the four-way stop, I worked with you guys, and you know I did, to get that four-way stop. January 22nd, the JT came through. I signed a JT so you guys could get your four-way stop, right?
Yeah, and I apologize to cut you off, I just don't want, we're supposed to, that's public comment, you're supposed to state it, and then we can discuss it.
Okay, well, I'll
You know,
state, I'll keep
Okay.
stating. So here's the deal, you guys have approved your attorney's bills, working with my attorney, Cass Wendland, and I never heard any questions then. John, where's John? Not John, the other, Anamaski. Not here?
Ron?
Ron, I'm sorry. Oh, Ron, you were at our meeting March 12th, and at our meeting March 12th, I spoke about Baker Road, and you didn't have any questions then either. This has been going on a long time, guys. I mean, I did what I told you I was gonna do. I got you your JT, I let you put your four-way stop. You know, all I want is my paper in return. Because this is
And we
now
are-
June.
Yeah, we are working on that, we went through the legal, so we're not, like, not doing what we said, so.
Well, I've been told a few times, and you know, Mayor, I was gonna have this quite a while ago. And I know you said your attorney and my attorney were working on it, but to give you a,
So-
go ahead.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I don't want this to get out of hand,
I
but,
know you're on a.
No, I'm not here to look for a fight, I just want my paper.
Because I wasn't at the last meeting, I was out of town.
Mhm.
So this is kind of new to me. I know it was on the agenda and it got tabled. So I know it's on a timer, but I'd like to know why it got tabled or what happened. I hate to drag
Some-
this out a little, but.
there's
I'd like to know.
some board members had questions about how much of the road is gonna be improved prior to us accepting the takeover. And I didn't have that answer, because we don't know how, I didn't personally know how long the bridge was, I'd never seen the plans, so I said, we'll talk to JB, and we'll get some more information for you guys.
Yeah, and I haven't had a chance to talk to John, because
Yeah.
as you know, I work beside, so I haven't had a chance. But it's
Sure.
point,
And
go ahead, sir.
if I could just give some context so it makes sense to everybody in the audience. So when you reference putting the agreement together with your attorney, you're absolutely right. I worked on behalf of the village along with your attorney to put together what's called an intergovernmental agreement.
Right.
We put that together, and then it was always subject to board approval. You know the process that's involved, presumably. Once that agreement was done, it was presented to the board, I believe at the last meeting. I happened to not be at that meeting as well. It was my understanding that the board had some additional questions, so rather than take a vote to see if the agreement would be approved, it was essentially pushed to the meeting referenced by the mayor. So there were some additional questions, and I think John was looking at those additional questions. So that's the status of the matter. It has progressed, but it's always subject to board review and approval, and if the board has additional questions, the board is entitled to get those questions answered before it takes formal action.
Okay, this is rough now, just looking at this.
Well, I don't know if you wanted to meet after, I apologize, I'm not trying to be
No,
disrespectful.
I just want to let you know, we go from .203 to .216 or 217 on the print.
Okay,
So from 3 to 17, that's 13. That's 100 foot per mark. 203 to 204 is 100 foot. Okay, so we got 203 to 216. That's 1,300 feet. The bridge deck is 171 feet. Do the math. Take 171 from
yeah,
1,300, and that's what's going to be paved. And also, I'm not going to leave you a pig in a poke here. If there's damage done on the road when the bridge is completed, I'm going to fix those spots. Because it's our people that drive on that road.
I don't have any issues, sir. I think it's all going to be good. Maybe we could just have a phone call and talk this through and.
Well, that's cool. We have had phone calls, but that's good. I'm good with that. But I know John, and I apologize, John, but I work besides, and I haven't had a chance to talk to John.
Yeah, no,
So I just thought it'd be
John's been kinda
simpler to
busy.
come here and.
No, I think it's
Okay.
all good, yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Thank you.
yep, thank you. Okay, so next up on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Any more public comment?
No, there's no more. I just wrote that. Okay, so next up is the consent agenda. This consists of May 23, 2024 Village Board Meeting minutes, May 23rd, 2024 Executive Session minutes now for release, and approval of June 4th, 2024 bills list. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Question.
Yes,
Can you pull the village board meeting minutes out for a separate vote?
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so the consent agenda consists of the May 23rd, 2024 executive session minutes not for release and approval of June 4th, 2024 bills list. That's the current consent agenda. The village board meeting minutes has been pulled for a separate vote.
Motion?
Second.
Okay, roll call?
Neighbors, Yes. Young,
Yes.
Dilling,
Yes.
Beamsterboer,
Yes.
Adamski. Doyle.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, separate from the consent agenda, is the May 23rd, 2024 village board meeting minutes. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the May 23rd, 2024 village meeting minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Young,
Yes.
Dilling,
Yes.
Beamsterboer,
Must abstain because I was not at the meeting.
Adamski,
Yes.
Doyle,
Yes.
Neighbors. Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Moving on, new business is a resolution appointing the village administrator and authorizing an employment agreement between the village administrator and the village of Manhattan. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve a resolution appointing Jeff Wold as village administrator at a salary of $146,000 per year, authorizing an employment agreement between the village administrator and the village of Manhattan. Is there any discussion or?
I would like just to make a statement before we vote, just to get it out there. It's a prepared statement. This will be our third village administrator in 3 years. Something needs to change here, guys, both on the village side and the people we hire. We need to make sure that we're making the right person in that position, giving them the job, and make sure they're qualified and they're interviewed thoroughly. I believe in this process where the mayor gets to interview his candidates, and with the help of the board, make sure that we're attracting the most qualified candidates to the village, ultimately seeking the most qualified individual. This was not the case with this promotion. Without any interview or resume submitted or going out to do any due diligence, we ignore the process we have done in the past, and we're just offering up a promotion. It's not how it's supposed to work. It's not one I can support as elected official. I'm not saying he isn't the guy, but I'm saying this isn't the way it's supposed to go. That being said, I wish Jeff Wold the best of luck if the board supports this hire. I promise to work with you, Jeff. root you on the entire time. I'll do everything in my power to help you out. I'm sure the police department's going to miss you. You've done a very good job over there, and you've earned all the respect of all the police officers, and I expect the same out of you on the village side if you are hired. So thank you, and that's my statement.
And just to give a little additional information, typically what the process is we do send out resumes to look for candidates. However, administrator contract by our ordinance follows the term of the mayor. I currently have 11 months left, so I think it would be unfair to try to go out to the street with looking for resumes and qualified candidates in that quick a time and try to give them a 9-month contract. I don't see anyone wanting to do that because when elections come up, people change. So I think we have people in-house that can do the position, and that's why we decided to, I decided to bring that to the board, get their blessing, to ask Jeff Wolt to be the village administrator. And as you know, the contract can only go until May 2025, and then we'll go from there. We can reassess everything. So I just wanted to let everyone know that's not typically the process, but due to the time restraints, we have qualified candidates within, so. Anyone else? So, any motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Young,
No.
Dilling,
Yes.
Beamsterboard,
Yes.
Adamski,
Yes.
Doyle,
Yes.
Neighbors, yes.
Okay, motion carries. I'd like to read a little blurb here about Jeff. So Jeff Wold is our current police chief, joining our police department in 2021. He has a long list of accomplishments as chief and is always working to make improvements in the police department. Jeff has 29 years of government experience, served as chief of police and interim village administrator in Shanahan prior to coming to Manhattan. Jeff and his wife Sally live in Shanahan. They have an adult daughter, Natalie, who is a first grade teacher. And Jeff, on behalf of the Village Board of Trustees, congratulations on your career in law enforcement. Best wishes to you in your new position as village administrator.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Now or?
Jeff, you bring your change of shirts?
Now?
Sorry.
All right. Next item on the agenda is the appointment of Ryan Gully as police chief. Ryan Gully is currently serving as police commander and canine officer at the Village of Manhattan Police Department. He has 20 years of law enforcement experience and served in several local area agencies prior to coming to Manhattan. Ryan and his family are proud Manhattan residents. Our canine Apollo lives with him and his family. In addition to his police department duties, Ryan is a member of the Manhattan School District 114. I'm sorry, the school board, 114 school board. Ryan has done a great job as commander and canine officer. We are proud to swear him in tonight, hopefully. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve Ryan Gully as Village of Manhattan Police Department police chief and a salary of $125,000 per year with 3 weeks vacation.
Just to be clear that this also runs with the term of the mayor. These are basically interim positions.
Yeah, they're official, but I guess if you say internally, it could be, because in May, it's a new appointment, and if I'm not here, then someone else has to do it.
You looking for a motion?
Yeah.
Motion.
Second?
Roll call?
Dilling,
Yes.
Beamster
Yes.
Adamski,
Yes.
Doyle,
Yes.
Neighbors, yes,
You
Young.
have some big shoes to fill. Good luck. My vote is yes.
All right, motion carries. So Ryan, if you'd like to come up to the podium and say a few words, introduce your family.
I'd like to start out by just thanking the village board and trustees, the mayor, for this incredible opportunity. Thank you for having confidence in me. I promise I will not let you down, appointed in this position. I'd like to thank my family. They're in attendance tonight. My wife, Evangelia, daughter, Eleni, daughter, Eliana, my son, Alexios. My parents are all in attendance tonight. I'm so proud to be your next chief of police. I will work hard to keep our residents and our businesses safe and continue the great traditions of Manhattan Police Department. I also want to thank the members of the community and of the Manhattan Police Department. None of this is possible without them and their tireless dedication to the Village of Manhattan and its residents. Thank you.
Make it official before shaking hands, right? And then your daughter. I'll work on this one.
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ryan Gully,
Having been appointed
having been appointed
to the position of Chief of Police
to the position of Chief of Police
in the Village of Manhattan,
in the Village of Manhattan,
in the County of Will,
in the County of Will,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the codes and ordinances of the Village of Manhattan,
and the codes and ordinances of the Village of Manhattan,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the position
the duties of the position
of Chief of Police
of Chief of Police
to the best of my
to
ability.
the best of my ability.
All right, congratulations. Who's going to put it on?
I'm going to have my dad put my star on.
Okay, you just sign your own.
My wife do the-
Okay.
Dad.
Want to come up, Dad?
I didn't warn him about this.
I sharpened it. All right. Moving on to the next item on the agenda. Is the ordinance approving, is everyone good? Shelley, you good? All right. Ordinance approving a collective bargaining agreement with the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, District Lodge, Local 8. So this is a clerical union contract for our clerical staff, and it expired May 1st, 2024. So this is essentially a 4-year renewal of the contract. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve an ordinance approving a collective bargaining agreement with the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, District Lodge, Local 8.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Beamster Bohr.
Yes.
Adamski.
Yes.
Doyle.
Yes.
Neighbors. Yes. Young.
Yes.
Dilling.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the ordinance amending Title II of the Business Regulations, Chapter 3, Liquor Control, Section 2-3-10, the number of licenses issued to remove the limitation on Class L liquor license. So past practice has had, once you get a Class A or G license, A, F, G, I, or K license, and you're in good standing, you can add this. And the L, Class L, just so everyone knows, is a beer garden. So an additional beer garden, there's an extra fee to have that on there. So this basically just goes with our past practice and makes sure that we don't have to create a license for Class L for the beer garden along with the regular liquor license. So it's a little bit of housekeeping. So it's just a little easier since we realized that past practice we weren't following well, we were just doing what we thought was the correct thing, and the ordinance just needed to be amended, so.
I got a question.
Yes,
What do we define as a beer garden?
outdoor
I
seating.
know it's
area-
outdoor.
Oh, I'm sorry, huh?
I know it's outdoor, but
Oh. So what
is
did
it a
you,
confined area, like,
might want a legal interpretation of this, but.
I don't know if I have that definition in front of me, or if the ordinance defines it off the top of my head, so I apologize.
I believe it would be like, where Gallagher's has their outdoor beer garden
Mhm.
in Midtown. like
so it's
that.
sort of corralled?
I think it had to be fenced off.
Fenced off?
So there's an exit in and out.
Okay.
So entertain a motion to approve an ordinance amending Title II, Chapter 3, Section 2-310, to remove the limitation on Class L liquor license.
Motion.
Okay, roll call?
Adamski.
Yes.
Doyle.
Yes.
Neighbors. Yes. Young.
Yes.
Dilling.
Yes.
Beamster Bohr.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, the village is currently in the process of doing a comprehensive plan, and this is a comprehensive plan, the land use workshop, and this is for the board to kind of discuss and get their thoughts out. There'll be a public meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Wilson Creek School. So 6 to 7:30 tomorrow, so the public can come in, look at maps, talk about their thoughts and what they'd like to add. But for just reasons for the board to be able to interact with each other, we're going to be over there in that square cubicle area, and we're going to be discussing what some of the board members would like to see in a comprehensive plan. You're more than welcome to stay and listen to it and everything, but we just request that no one make any comments while the board is discussing with the consulting company. So, and there'll be no executive session, so if anyone wants to stay around and see that, or, if you guys would like to leave, that would be fine too. So, more than welcome either way. So if everyone will join us over there, or did you want to say? I thought they left. Sorry about that, Nick.
Can we get the other TVs working? Okay.
Want me to speak louder? Don't take a photo of me. No. I won't take it personal. Okay, that felt personal. Yeah. Is that what I did say? Well, we'll see them all tomorrow night. Good. Am I okay to go? Yes. Oh, okay. All right. Well, first of all, thank you for giving us an opportunity to meet with you tonight. I'm going to go over a couple of different things. This is a pretty brief presentation, more of just an official kickoff to the project. I want to talk a little about our team, what we're working on, what we were contracted to do. We have an exercise that we want to spend a majority of our time with you tonight on. But before we do that, just kind of a lay of the land, why we do a comprehensive plan, what we want to use this for, and what the next steps look like. So we'll go over the planning process. I want to talk about the involvement of how the village board will be tied into the project throughout this entire planning process. And then we'll do the planning exercise, recap next steps, and go from there. Real quick, just for introductions. So behind me, and including myself, we're from House of Levine. We're a consulting firm. I'll talk a bit about our firm in a second here. My name is Nick Davis. I'm a principal at House of Levine, been with them for about 12 or 13 years. Behind me is Sue John. He's the senior planner. He'll be serving as the project manager on this effort. And then with him is Miles. He'll also be working on this project as the planning lead. The three of us are who you'll see the most throughout this planning process. We'll be doing a lot of the community engagement, pulling the planning documents together, doing the research, the field work. So if you see anybody out there taking photos, it's probably us. But we'll be going through this process with your team over the next 12 months. And this is the core of our House of Levine office. Our firm, we're a planning, design, and zoning firm. That's what we specialize in. We work on comprehensive plans throughout the region. We have a home base office here in Chicago. We work throughout the Midwest, know the region really well. But we do have offices in different locations. We have one in Seattle, LA, Helena. But this team that you're going to be working with is 100% from Chicago. So our national experience is a big part of what we bring to this. So although we're based in the Midwest and it's probably where we do 70% of our work, we do have a good solid foundation on what's being done well in Colorado, what kind of plans are working in the North Carolina areas, work that we've been doing in California on housing. A lot of these issues start to translate into better plan recommendations that we can bring here. So leveraging that national experience is helpful. And then innovation is a big part of what drives our firm. We're a firm of planners. This is what we do. We get excited about working on these types of studies. Preparing recommendations for communities that are trying to address some pretty significant issues is a big part of what we do. And so bringing those different approaches and bringing technology and innovation into our recommendations, and it's not just an art anymore. There's a lot of data and science that ties into why we provide the type of recommendations that we provide. So it's something we look forward to working with you on the board, but also with your community. I want to talk a bit about the planning process, more so why we do a comprehensive plan, what the purpose of a comprehensive plan really is. It is a blueprint. It's supposed to guide what you do over the next 20 years. So over the next 2 decades, this should set the kind of foundation for the direction that you want to go, if you want to grow, if you do want to grow, how do you want to grow? What are uses that are appropriate? What are infrastructure improvements we should consider? So you're looking at the city or as the village at kind of a systems level. So we're looking at land use, we're looking at transportation, community facilities, your natural environment, all these different components sort of overlaying into what the purpose of a comprehensive plan really is. We want to establish what the community desires, the needs, and the aspirations are. So a big part of this is to be aspirational, to have goals for what you're trying to accomplish. Some of them you might be able to do next year. Some might take 20 years to achieve. Might not achieve all of our goals, but we want to strive towards these. So it's something that we'll make sure in the plan we give recommendations and actionable objectives that are able to get us closer to these goals. There are a broad range of topics. So I mentioned we'll establish what your land use should be in the future. We'll look at things like transportation, the community facilities. We'll start zeroing in on, and this isn't zoning, but are there things that the zoning code needs to address or needs to be aligned with the comprehensive plan once we're done. So we'll make sure that we have a handoff with that at the end of the process. A big thing that you use the comprehensive plan for, one, it's just to make sure that everybody in the community is on the same page about the direction that you move forward over the next 20 years. It's also a fantastic tool for funding. A properly crafted comprehensive plan should be used in all of your funding source applications. It's one of the first questions that they ask are, what do your planning documents look for? Is this supported by the community? So if you're looking for a roadway improvement, or if you're looking for maybe it's a bridge project that you're trying to fund, or a trail project, they're going to want to know that it's supported in your comprehensive plan. Community buy-in is a big reason why this document's important for future funding. And then it should inform decisions and development. A big part of what you'd be using this for is to evaluate a future project. Something comes in, is it consistent with the comprehensive plan? Does it adhere to your current zoning? If it does, it makes it a lot easier for people to move through the process. More fair certainty for a future investor or developer. So using this comprehensive plan is a big aspect of how you're going to achieve what you want to be in the next 20 years. So those are reasons we do these types of studies. The planning process, we broke this down into 5 steps. We're in the first step. We officially kicked off the project about 6 weeks ago, but today is the first day we're in the field. We've been spinning up a lot of the project website, collateral, materials that we would need for the event some of the work that we've done today, but also the visioning workshop tomorrow. But over the next couple of months, we'll be working on finishing up the existing conditions, taking the information that we collect through these different stakeholder discussions, and through the visioning workshop tomorrow, and starting to pull together what the existing conditions baseline is, and then start preparing the draft vision and the goals for the plan. Before we go too far, we'll work on the plan visioning and key recs memo. That plan visioning is, did we hit the mark? Is this the direction you want to take the community the next 20 years? And then if it is, these key recommendations are the topics that we want to make sure we're talking about before we start writing plan text. So it's a key recommendations memo is basically an outline of the plan, but we're getting a little bit more specific about if this is a topic we're going to address, this is the direction the recommendations will go. We'll have a discussion with the village board, and I'll talk about that in a second, before we actually get into plan writing. And I know one of the questions that we typically get, a couple times we got it today, I'm sure we'll get it tomorrow. We have no plan recommendations yet. Our team's not in a place where we can say this is what we want to put in the plan in the future. We're just trying to establish a foundation of what's here now. A lot of the feedback that we collect, we're going to be in the field validating. We're going to review a lot of the data that we've received from the village. We'll be also looking at some of other data sources that we can pull from. We'll review past plans and studies. So there's a lot of different things that we're going to be using to, sort of field check and validate the input that we've collected. About at the point when we get to step 3 and step 4, that's when we start getting into draft plan recommendations. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, but I just want to make sure that's clear. We don't have a plan for this yet. We still have a lot of work to do. Step 4 is when we actually start getting into the draft comprehensive plan document itself. It's when it's going to look most like the plan. So these are elements. It's when we'll provide the future land use map and the recommendations that go with that. We'll provide guidance on the residential areas, so that's kind of a subset of the land use plan. We'll provide guidance on commercial areas, employment areas. So all these different land uses will have a little bit more guidance in a subset of the land use plan. And then we'll get into some of those core elements that I'd already talked about: community facilities, transportation, natural areas, those types of things. And then the final step is the actual draft plan and the final comprehensive plan. It's when it's going to be in its final document form. It's going to go through a couple of steps, a couple of processes. People are going to have a lot of opportunities to see these draft documents before we're back in front of you for adoption. It is a 12-month timeline, so I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But we have a lot of time and a lot of opportunity for people to participate and give us their feedback. As I mentioned, we're sort of running parallel on these three first steps. The project kickoff and public engagement, for the most part, will wrap up over the next couple of weeks. We have the visioning workshop tomorrow, which is a big component of that. We'll be working on the existing conditions, and then we'll start moving into plan visioning and key recommendations. I have a timeline that I'll show in a minute. Here's the timeline. So I know it's really tough to read. I break this down a little bit easier to read in a couple of minutes. The main thing is we're going to be working through these first couple of steps through the next couple of months. So we're doing the kickoff, the existing conditions, and the visioning component really from now until about the end of summer. So the idea was we do a lot of this upfront work. Over the summer, our team's working on existing conditions and some of the initial plan writing. When everybody comes back from their, I'm hoping, really fun summer breaks, we'll come back and have a discussion about existing conditions, key recs memo, and start moving into the actual plans themselves. The goal here is to have the plan adopted in the first quarter of next year. So we're about 10 months out, so it's a very, very doable timeline in terms of what we're trying to accomplish. Just kind of make sure that we stay on track. For the village board involvement, I want to preface, we want you to be involved beyond just this official capacity, so there's other ways to participate. We have a project website where you can fill out an online survey. There's a mapping tool there. There's going to be some public engagement events, the visioning workshop, the open house in the future. So we definitely want you there, but at a more official capacity, we're meeting with you 4 times. So we have today, the village board kickoff discussion and the exercise we're going to do. We'll be back, like I said, towards the end of summer or into early fall to go over the plan visioning and the key recommendations memo. We'll be back, once again in the fall, probably fall, early winter, and we'll go over the actual comprehensive plan. It'll be that elements. It'll kind of see the structure where we're going. And then the final time that we'll be back will be just after an open house. We'll collect a lot of feedback from the public, make any final refinements that we need to based on that feedback, and then we'll come back to you with a draft and then ultimately a final plan that you'll, fingers crossed, adopt. So that's the path. That's how many times we're going to see you. This one, there wasn't as much homework. The next 3, there will be some materials that we'll send out to you before the meeting. You'll have draft components that you can be reviewing, and we'll be more reviewing the content that we prepared. So much as today we're here to talk to you. Any questions? The next step is the exercise, which I think we're going to break from the dais and go over to the table. So any questions about the process? I can also jump ahead and talk a bit about the next step since we're here and we have the board. Yeah.
Can I just ask that you forward us a copy of the
100%. Yep.
and the website just so we can post it on our website?
Yep. So the great segue. So the website address, it's hla.fyi/Manhattan Comp Plan. I'll leave this up here for a minute if you want to write it down. But yeah, we'll share this. You can publish it. You'll have access to everything. And then just as a kind of an overview, we have some online tools that you're able to access. There's an online questionnaire. I mentioned a mapping tool. If you're familiar with, and I suppose at this point everybody is, if you ever use a Google map, it's on the same kind of user experience. So you can drop a point, be able to kind of zoom in on the map. You can turn on the aerial if that's easier for you to navigate. And you can add things like, here's a community asset, this is a problematic intersection, I think this site would be great for redevelopment, or I think this site would be great for preservation, whatever it might be. It's a good tool. It's a great way to crowdsource information and get a better understanding of what people feel should be addressed or what they think some of the challenges are in the overall community. It's slightly addictive once you get going, so if you can get in there and add some points, it's, again, very helpful for us, kind of guide some of the field work, places that we know we need to go see and make sure we don't miss. Final slide, and then we can break. Like I mentioned, today and tomorrow, we've done kind of our kickoff, our project engagement. We've launched the project website. We're doing key stakeholder interviews with some specific focus groups and stakeholders from throughout the community. We have a business listening workshop tomorrow morning. So that's us talking to property owners, business owners, hoping to have a good turnout there. I can talk a bit more about that in a minute. And then we have a community visioning workshop tomorrow night. So I can put the details up here too if that's helpful. And then end of the summer is when we'll start working on the existing conditions memo, the plan visioning and key recommendations, and then we'll be back in the fall and winter for draft plan and adoption. All right, any other questions, comments? Nope. All right, do we want to move over here? We have a couple questions that we're going to share. So John's going to pass this around in a minute. What I want to do though, before you get started, first of all, very informal discussion. We're going to give you some time. You're going to be taking some notes for us. We are going to collect these sheets at the end. So if you really want a copy of it, just take a photo of it, please. What we'll have you do though is we're going to have you go through, just to answer the first question. We're going to do these together. So don't jump ahead. Don't go to question 2. It's tempting, but please don't. So we'll hand these out. If you need a pen, let us know. It looks like everyone might have one already, but if you need one, we have a couple. What's that? Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll get you. We'll get them on the board. Oh, it's okay. I'm sorry. Do you want someone to scribe for you? We could write for you. No, we got it. All right. Yeah, I was gonna say you might want one just as a copy. Here, I'll take all the. You don't need all of them. There's another one tomorrow. There's gonna be a business workshop tomorrow morning. Yep. And then a visioning workshop at night. Sorry. It's okay. Here. Well, I'll give you the questions so you can see. All right. So what I want you to do, just take a minute and fill out the first question. First question is identify 5 issues or concerns facing Manhattan. So these are issues that we want the comprehensive plan to address. These can be you as a board. This can be you as a resident or a property owner, business owner, whatever it might be. So there's no prism directly that I want you to shoot this through. Just identify and list 5 issues that you think the comprehensive plan is going to. We'll never do that again. I hope that's better. Sorry, so identify 5 issues or concerns facing Manhattan. So take a few minutes, write them down, and then we're going to go through these as a group. So I'll give you a minute or 2. If you have questions, it's okay. And then don't go to question 2. Just wait for that ringing to stop. That doesn't feel on at all. Is that on? Yeah, all right. Is this just for the recording? Is that why we're doing this? Oh, okay, all right, makes sense. Because I feel like everyone can hear me, but all right. All right, I'll give you one, we'll do one more minute. Some people still writing. And you can keep writing as we go around too, but just give everyone an opportunity. You look ready. Are we ready? Sure. All right, here we go. So we'll start with you. Can you just give me one issue? I know you weren't able to, but if you want to give me one issue that we're facing here in Manhattan. And just give me one for now.
One of the issues is future of the roads, when they're coming into town.
Okay.
52, when they're coming to town, like Cedar, that would be, to me, that's going to turn out to be a main road coming into town, sooner or later before.
Okay, so.
I look at Cedar, Baker, Smith, and Eastern, it's going to be one of the prime properties.
Okay.
Because everything, you look at like Volcano, look at Volcano. It's got $500,000 to a downtown. The downtown now, buildings gone, nothing. Where's everything? Outside.
All right, so the future of the roads. So future of the roads, but not just 52. So you said Cedar, Baker, Eastern, yeah.
That whole farm area.
Yeah.
Flat land, something you can build on.
Okay. Yeah, I've just in parentheses, roads like Cedar, Baker, Eastern. You said another one, but we'll get it. Okay, great, yeah, and I didn't say that, but just give me one, we'll do one issue at a time. We're gonna go around the table a couple of times, but I wanna give everybody an opportunity to speak. So go ahead, why don't you give us one of your issues?
The population growing, many homes being built, and not maybe creating different ways to generate revenue, so it's not always heavily. The town paying taxes, but just hoping that just let me know.
What are you doing that on purpose?
All right, so I just wanna make sure I get it. So,
The population is growing, a lot of people here, and I would like to, people would like to see more businesses to help offshoot the taxes.
okay, so, yeah, exactly. So balancing, you know, taxable businesses, taxable properties, definitely a consideration and something that we will talk about in the plan. And there's no percentage that you're targeting or shooting for typically, but it's certainly something that you want to think about is what can you do to offset the burden to, you know, the rooftops here in the community, and that's bringing in employment or commercial opportunities that help build that tax base. Yeah, okay. Sir?
Well, it's the big one. Controlling the expansion of Joliet into Manhattan territory on the west side of our property. North Point, yes or no? We got a plan if is it coming, we got a plan if it's not coming. And then the rest of this whole exercise means nothing until you can figure out what that's gonna do to the rest of the town. It all feeds into the traffic, it all feeds into everything else.
So establishing a pretty clear direction, whether it's coming or not. So North Point, plan for if it's coming, plan for if it's not. So just know the direction that you want to take as a village.
That's part of it, but you also have to, it's two separate sections. I know you asked for one, but it comes as a two-piece question. You have not, whether North Point comes or not, Joliet will, and try to annex into our territory and surround us.
Better protecting maybe the development of your western border would be another way to say it. All right, so protect the western border, and then you did sneak two in there, but that was good. So protect the western border. I agree. Protect the western border, and then, you know, take into consideration if North Point is coming or if it's not, and then either way, Joliet may still make, you know, decisions about how they want to annex properties that are coming this way. You got all that too, John? All the markers dying. All right, protect western border. I would just say North Point, plan for it's coming or not coming. And I think it's important for the village to have a direction either way. So you got to make sure that you're setting yourself up to succeed. All right, we'll let him get that one. Go ahead. We got all of yours? Okay, all right, great. And if that happens, that's great. We'll just move on. All right, did you have one?
Mine was around infrastructure and the growth of the village, our roads not supporting the population that's here.
Don't meet the kind of capacity needs for what you currently have. Okay, so current roads already not meeting the needs for the village. And then you'll just, why would you say current roads not meeting the needs of not supporting growth, say that. So current roads not supporting growth. Yeah, so supporting growth. I guess maybe, just to be clear, are the current roads supporting the demand now, in your opinion? No. Well, that was my question. Okay, because this isn't even about growth. This is about currently you're not supporting, and then on top of that, you're going to compound it if you do continue to grow and you don't make upgrades to your roads. But okay, and this is stuff that we'll talk about in the plan for sure. Do you have one?
Yeah. Can you guys? Good. Okay, you can hear me. I can hear myself. A lot of these are same for me. I think one that we need to touch on would be the commercial growth location, the readiness to accept commercial growth, and then kind of where are we going to expand in the future if we do have some more growth for commercial. Like right now, we have a very isolated area where we can put commercial growth without moving buildings or buying houses. We don't have any other planning areas right now that are ready for commercial growth. So make sure we identify those areas 10, 20 years down the road so we can start planning that way and not have say a cemetery in the middle of downtown.
Lack of commercial, well, just a lack of commercial. And the plan needs to provide guidance about where it can go, where it should go, how much is appropriate, those types of things. And then I just, to be clear, when we say commercial, is that retail, service type uses? Are you including employment? Are you industrial, light, heavy, whatever that might be?
Well, in my vision, I guess everything but heavy. Light, there's probably a spot for light industrial in town, I'm sure, but I'm more focused on kind of the high traffic areas where we put commercial, retail, business.
Yeah, lack of commercial, and then parentheses, need to identify appropriate locations and amount, those types of things. All right, perfect. Run the risk, yeah. It's like operation.
I think a lot of it's already been brought up, but I guess I'll just make a comment about the type of development. You know, I do believe, or at least the reviewing of comp plans that I'm doing, that regionally they look at our comp plans and decide if we have big areas that want I-1 industrial, then regionally or nationally they'll look at those areas for future growth. So I would say that, but since everybody's already mentioned most of it, I would just say safe movement within all of our area. Safe movement of pedestrians, bikers, walkers, just safe pedestrian movements.
Currently, just not.
No crosswalks.
Yeah, okay.
Meaning, like on main roads, we have no no defined areas yet, things like that. Lights, no traffic lights to where they should be, potentially.
Safe mobility options, and then, you know, be thinking about not just pedestrians, but also vehicular traffic, bike traffic, that kind of thing. So all modes of transportation, and then we can look at things like where the dangerous intersections are, you know, where crosswalks are needed, those types of improvements, sidewalk connections, things like that. To go back to your previous comment, just for clarity, so knowing that I-1 is a target use, not here specifically, but in the region, is that a use that you're supportive? Is that a use that you'd like to see? Or is it more of, if that's the type of use that we're going to be getting in our proposals, you know, that's not what we want to be supporting right now? Not to put you on the spot, I'm just curious.
For me personally, I'm always open to the discussion down the road, but for me personally, I think Trustee Beams have already mentioned it, but we have a monstrosity of warehousing proposed to our west-northwest that would be plenty. I'm already against that, but more, no, that would not be something I would be for.
Chief?
I'd say rerouting Route 52 around downtown. So the issue is truck traffic or traffic and rerouting.
52 would definitely be a solution, something to explore.
I mean, you want to ask him? He's just talking, he's interested about the traffic discussion. Is that something you're going to do next?
I think that's probably, I think that's going to come up here in the next couple questions, if you want to get into it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Mayor?
I agree with a lot of those. A big issue, I think, is just being ready with our wastewater and water tower, our infrastructure for public works, as far as wastewater and new water mains and water tower, to sustain anything that does come here subdivision-wise.
All right, so sort of set the stage infrastructure-wise for future development. So just being prepared for future development.
Can you clarify that for me? So upgrading our wastewater treatment facility, adding another water tower, because not everything lasts forever. So if our one water tower needs to be taken out of service for repair or reconditioning, we have a backup.
In terms of for this conversation, are you looking at different locations? Is that what you're trying to say? Of where to put it, or?
Issue, we need to make sure that as we grow, we're growing with not only road infrastructure, but sewer and water infrastructure as well.
Okay.
go back around. If you have another issue that you want to add onto the list, let's do it. Do you have another one you want to add?
I mean, all these are really good. How to, it's, like Chili said, the infrastructure. Infrastructure really, I mean, our infrastructure, roads and whatnot. We got people coming. I saw, I showed it to me, it's on Facebook. And that, who's the growth out of all the towns coming? We're number 6. At 10.7, they figured 10.7. 10.7.
And the 10.7 is for what? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's the projection.
We're number 6, and that's pretty good. But they are coming this way.
Yeah.
And I have this town, I see where they're all coming. They're coming from the city of Chicago, they're coming from Nelson, they're coming from both Forest, they're coming from Tinley. They want to get away from all the hassle.
Yeah.
But they want everything they used to have.
Sure.
I did too when I first came here. Adjust.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
I mean, when I Moki, same thing. It was nothing. Look at it now.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're all aware, but your projections by 2050 taking you from 9,300 to, I think it's like 20,000, so a little over. Yeah. Hard to say, but yeah, exactly. So those are number. I mean, those are doubling in terms of population. So certainly something to think about. Yeah. Yeah. Got the teachers. Yeah. Did you have another issue that you wanted to add?
No, I think I really like this list.
Okay, good. I'd like to solve it, but yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I'll give you one more.
No, it's okay. I don't think they're participating. Yeah. Oh, are you participating? Oh, yeah. Would you? Yeah. So go.
Echo their ideas of traffic safety for pedestrians, bicycles, and vehicles alike.
Okay.
As we build the town up.
All right.
Keeping that in mind.
Yeah, and I think we might have phrased this a little oddly, but traffic safety, I think, is the key there is when you get to these key intersections, how are people moving through it? How do you keep it safe? So certainly stuff we'll talk about. Go ahead, sorry.
I have one more on my list, and that would be to go kind of in with Tommy saying about the growth and the projected growth, but not only understanding that it's coming, but managing it to create and save as much open space as we can. Because once the land is built on and gone, it's gone, okay? We need to preserve enough open space to balance out the current growth projections. And whether that's in our zoning and allowing a little more density in one spot, but have it open up in another spot where it equalizes out.
Concerns that, future development could, eat up all of the open space in the areas that we should be preserving. So how do we balance that with the future growth? I think that's certainly something we should talk about. So concerns with future growth, consuming these areas that should be considered for preservation. Yeah, and there's a lot of different strategies. And one of the things that we talk about, there'll be a land use plan and we'll talk about development, but we'll certainly focus on when we say you have a population projection of 20,000 coming, so you could potentially double. You as a village still have a choice to decide if that's even something you want to support. There's things that you can make that easier. You could grow that number. You could reduce that number. So the plan's not just here to say you must grow. It's if you do choose to grow, there's ways that you can strategically manage how you grow. So you have that control as a village. So that's certainly something we want to address. Did you have another one you wanted to add? Yeah.
Get through to anybody.
The rail? Are these on? Yeah. I mean, there's things that you can talk about with the railroad. I don't know if you've ever engaged with the railroad. That would be the first discussion. There can be enforcement that you apply, but they own those properties. I mean, they're allowed to do quite a bit. Yeah. So.
Not really an answer. If you think about it, last year we had a young man that was distraught, and he unfortunately he ran into a building and whatnot. Had he thought about it, he could have used that car to run into those rails.
Sure.
Our downtown would have been gone. Our fire department would have been gone. Terry Wood definitely got a new building, ready to go. That would have been a major disaster, so we're talking about building this beautiful downtown area. Right around these bounds that are front here.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a concern.
okay, I mean, I would say, so a concern is dangerous rail car materials adjacent to the downtown? Like in the downtown, right? In proximity to the downtown?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so dangerous rail car materials in the downtown. All right.
Thank you.
Yep. No more? Do you have one more?
Yeah. Yeah, that we're focusing on, kind of what Trustee Damsky said, is a walkable downtown, a place where we have gathering areas, kind of what Dave was saying, some open land, and make sure that, because as we grow, we can still remain a small knit, tight-knit community, and I just want to make sure we're focused on growing, but inclusively with our current residents too, not just, the new residents, not trending that way. We can't leave them behind. So figuring out ways to have more open areas to get together and have walkable paths to those ways to connect everyone.
Just concerns with a lack, well, I would just say there might be a lack of connections for existing residents, things that you'd want to think about if you, continue to develop. How do you connect all these different spaces? Open space, trails, whatever that might be, yeah. So lack of existing trails and open space for existing residents. Okay, do you have another one?
I think most of it's been brought up. I guess the only thing I would add is, which has been already brought up, but not only are we getting kind of engulfed from our northwest part of Joliet, what we should look at is how we can annex ourselves some land so we don't get swallowed up, not just from the west, northwest, but from the east, south, whatever could happen.
Yeah, okay. So I think one of the things that, we'll definitely do, looking at the plan, but just opportunities or I would just say opportunities to annex future properties. And that can be any which way. You can go north, south, east, or west. But the plan will talk about and give you some target areas for where you should be prioritizing annexation. A lot of that would be time on your infrastructure, likelihood of annexation, what type of development you'd like to see there. But yeah, certainly something we can and we will talk about. Do you have another one?
Complete the downtown plan.
So complete the downtown plan. So how would we?
Or no, continue, I guess,
Oh, okay.
progress on the downtown.
All right, so continue to implement portions of the downtown plan. All right. Anything in particular? Just curious.
There's areas that are cited for development, but
Gotcha.
I don't
Okay.
know if we have, anyone interested or.
Gotcha. So I would say continue to implement downtown plan, promoting redevelopment opportunities. All right. Mayor, do you have another one?
Lack of senior living.
Okay, lack of senior living. Let's do John catch up. Lack of senior living.
People live their whole life and they want to move out and
Yeah.
they need a new facility.
Yeah, nowhere to like right size or downsize, whatever that might be. All right. How about you, new chief?
Touched on everything that I had listed here.
Okay, all right, great. Well, I was going to move on to the next question. Does anybody else have one more that they want to add? Otherwise, we'll move on.
I would just only add
Yeah.
that where, I know it was already brought up about where development is going to be and what types and where we should have it, north, east, south, whatever. But also, I think the actual specific types, like if it's I-1, I-2, or C1, C2, B1, B, we should,
Okay.
isn't that part of the comp plan? That
Are you talking, it sounds like that's zoning terminology. We can,
the comp plan?
not the comp plan, but what we can talk about is here are the uses that are appropriate. We can do an alignment to your code and say, so let's say in this area we want to do light industrial, specifically in this area. We can say then in your zoning, you need to make sure that you're accommodating these types of land uses. And you just got to make sure that the zoning districts allow for those types of uses, permit them by right. There might be some that you want to consider conditionally, and you can put that in there as well. But the land use plan is going to be policy. The zoning, your zoning map and zoning code may need to be updated after you adopt a plan. That's an alignment, pretty straightforward. But then the land use plan and the zoning code work together. So when someone comes in and they want to do that use that's on that site, the land use plan, the comprehensive plan supports it. The by right zoning makes it easy. So it's very clear and very easy to understand that this is the direction that the village wants us to go. So they do need to talk. You'll update your code. That's like step one, update your zoning code. That's always our first recommendation. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I just got one last thing, and it's really kind of a two-part thing. It's beautification overall, making sure that when we plan, we're allowing enough space for landscaping and offsets off the roadways, but also trying to get the utilities underground, the overhead electrical, clean up some of the signs downtown. It's kind of a mess. It's just years of growing quickly and not having really anywhere to bury the stuff.
Yeah.
As we expand, let's make sure that we're growing the right way and considering landscaping and underground utilities. So
Okay.
we don't have a congested mess.
All right, so two issues, but very related. So I would just say beautification, or the need for beautification is important. And then I'm going to take these in reverse order. So, you know, issues with overhead utility lines. And you can do two things. You can bury them, which is really expensive, well, very expensive, and you can relocate them to the rear of a building, which is just semi-expensive, but still costly, still a consideration. So that's one. And then the second part of that, I just want to just confirm, when we say beautification, you know, providing more space for landscaping, there's really two places you can do that. You can do that in the public right away. That can be the village's responsibility. You can do streetscape improvements. One thing I noticed when we're driving around, there's a lack of at least consistent consistent landscaping within a private property. So perimeter landscaping, interior landscaping, so parking lot islands, stuff like that. So again, that's stuff that we can certainly provide recommendations for. And then again, right away, you would want to update in your code. You want to require that. So if that's something you want to see and you want to see, you know, more quickly as part of new development, you got to make it a code. So I would say the number 16, just parentheses landscaping. Number 16, parentheses landscaping. Yeah. All right. Anybody else? All right. So we're going to move on to the next question. This is a little more straightforward. What I want you to do, you don't have to write down anything but a number. So we have 17 issues up here. What we want you to do is just write down, what do you think the number one for you, the number one issue is? Let's say the number one issue for you is issues with overhead utilities. Right next to number one, just write 17. That's all you got to do. You don't have to rewrite the whole thing. And then what's your number two issue? And just put these in your priority. We're going to collect these sheets and we'll kind of break them down. So take a minute, review these, and write down your number one, number two, and number three issue. And just write the number. Ten seconds. All right, here's what I want you to do. So you just put them in order, and that's going to be helpful for us. But what I want you to do, I'm going to go through this list. So for the first one, if you put future roads, so number one, future roads, if you put it as 1, 2, or 3, so whatever order you put it in, I just want you to raise your hand. So who had number one, future of the roads, Cedar, Baker, Eastern? Those are issues that you want to make sure that we're addressing. Who voted for that one? Okay, nobody.
Just the number one?
Or 2 or 3. So if you wrote this down anywhere, yep, yep. So, all right, so we got 1. Raise your hand if you did. 1, we got 1. Okay. All right, who put, again, if you put it for 1, 2, or 3, so regardless of what order you put it in, who put number 2, balancing taxable properties and uses? So just that balance of residential and then, taxable uses. All right, nobody? All right, so 0. So this is a good example. We're still going to talk about this. This is an important issue, but in terms of priorities, this is not, a number one priority for this group. So we're still going to talk. I'm sure it'll come up in some other meetings, something we got to talk about. So number 3, who had protect the western border, preparing different alternatives based on North Point coming, not coming, that kind of thing. So 1. There's some that are consistent. They'll kind of collapse for sure. So these two, I think, go together. Who put 3 or 4 together? If you put 1, 2, 3, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, let's do that. 7, and we'll collapse those two. No, and I think they were said together, so that's okay. Who put number 5? Current roads are not meeting or supporting growth, not meeting the demands that we currently have. 1, 2. All right. Who put number 6? A lack of commercial. Need to identify areas and types that are appropriate in the future. 1. Okay. Who put number 7? Unsafe mobility options. Unsafe traffic patterns or traffic issues. All right. 1, 2. All right. Who put number 8? So the idea of potentially rerouting 52 around the downtown truck traffic. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. 8. Sorry. 8. That was 8. That was 8. My bad. All right. Who put number 9? Being prepared for future development. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Who put number 10? Concerns with future growth, consuming the open space, not preserving that open space. Okay, 1. Who put number 11? Dangerous railroad materials in the downtown. 1, 2, 2. Who put number 12? A lack of existing trails and open space for residents. What do you mean? Wait. Oh, well, mayor wants 1. So, all right, who else? Yeah. And some of these are going to get collapsed. We're going to collapse these in the future, but no, it's okay. That'd be cheating. So who put 13? Opportunities for future annexations. Opportunities for future, so consider directions we need to go. All right, so 0 and 0. 14, use your sheet. 14, continue to implement downtown plan, promote redevelopment opportunities. So continue to implement the downtown plan. All right, 0, but obviously something you want to do. What can you do to get out there and promote these opportunities, get the word out? Who put 15, lack of senior living? 1. And then number 16, the need for beautification, landscaping, just softening some of these edges. Who had that? Okay, 0. And then the last one was just addressing issues with overhead utilities, unsightly utilities. Okay, 0. I think you voted very honestly. All right, so obviously the one that rises to the top, truck traffic, exploring rerouting, 52. Number 7, kind of collapsing that, protect the western border and plan for North Point. Number 5, just being prepared for future development. I would say being prepared for future development and thinking about how you want to address your western border. It's probably all very related. And then the rest of these are more 1 and 2 votes. So pretty consistent. And this exercise is always really important because there's a couple up here that are 0s, but I know the plan talks about these types of issues. We're going to address them. But in terms of what you want to prioritize with your efforts in the future, or maybe where the plan's recommendations are going to be more emphasized, it's going to be on these issues that are rising to the top. Pretty consistent with some feedback we've already heard today. I'm sure we're going to get this kind of feedback just from a different perspective tomorrow with the business community. And so it'll be good. Kind of gives us a better understanding of the challenges that we're up against, what we have to be addressing when we start going out and doing field recon, those types of things. Okay. So the next question is, taking all these issues into consideration and maybe some other ones that you're thinking about as you're sitting here, is you're in charge for the day. Money's not an objective, so don't worry about that, or not an issue. You have 1 day, you can do 1 specific project or action here in the village. What is that specific project or action? So not an issue, not a policy, but a very specific action. One might be, tell the railroad they're not allowed to park dangerous materials in the downtown. That's a specific project or an action that we want done, so write that down. Those types of projects, so get very hands-on, down at the level, go build that intersection improvement that we've been talking about, that type of thing. So I'll give you a minute, write them down. As people start to finish up, we do this more popcorn style, so if you got one that you want to share, just raise your hand and shout it out. But be sure you write it.
New south of Smith Road.
Okay.
That's something we are kind of started.
So widen and improve,
Yeah.
or, yeah, okay, yep. Widen and improve.
We already started, does it matter? or-
Hi, no, I mean, if it's, well, I mean, there's some projects where if you're through planning, you know, it might still be implement or, you know, actually make sure you have the funds for it, those types of things. So, no, I don't feel hamstrung by, you know, it's a maybe. Anybody else? A specific project, a specific action? One that you want to share? I see a couple written down. How about you? You got one?
Biggest one is the, you know, the one that we've always talked about is rerouting 52.
That's a big one.
Downtown is very dangerous with all those trucks going through.
Yeah, so rerouting, I mean, that's certainly been a theme through a lot of our discussions and something that we'll provide recommendations on. Yeah, go ahead.
More parking in downtown?
More parking in downtown. All right. Is there a specific area that's appropriate for more parking in downtown?
Along the tracks.
Okay, and that's sort of the green space along tracks. Okay. All right. Anybody else? How about someone over here? Anybody over here got a specific project or action?
Build a wall.
Where would we build the wall?
It's a term that's used out here.
Okay,
Build
all
a
right.
wall. Is to go up Cherry Hill and annex to get those people, you said I would charge one day, I could do whatever I want, money's no object?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get them annexed one way or the other and stop Joliet from coming this way.
All right.
Therefore, I can then fight North Point.
Yeah.
But I can't fight them if they just keep coming and coming and coming and jamming it down my throat. That is the most important issue in this town.
Yeah.
It drives all the truck traffic, it drives everything. So just don't be fooled by little quotes and questions. That is the main issue,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm only speaking for myself.
I agree.
Yeah.
Just keep moving forward with the downtown plan. There's a lot of sub-projects within that project,
Okay.
and I think we need to remain focused on that.
All right.
Because it is the future of like the town still being small and having gathering spots. It's gonna be that downtown spot.
Is there anything is there anything the comprehensive plan can do to better support the downtown plan? I mean, other
Well,
than
there's a ton of,
reiterating
I
it?
mean, grants, right? If we can get, like
Oh, sure.
landscaping, beautification grants, which would tie in the utilities, the beautification downtown.
Yeah.
Helping pay for some expansion of, tearing down some houses that we own. There's a lot of common area that we're gonna own that we're gonna have to pay for.
All right.
Which is like the current parking areas. We have some proposals to have them be gathering areas with maybe a concert stage or pavilions, like a farmer stand pavilion.
Oh, that'd be great.
So a lot of that stuff's gonna be expensive, and that's stuff we're gonna have to pay for. The rest is private development
Okay.
and money, but there are some things that we definitely would need money for.
Anybody else? Project action? This might be the project action you're looking for. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I would say a good comprehensive plan that actually puts everything where they should be and
Yeah.
well thought out.
All right. No pressure. Got it. All right.
Thinking, Walmart parking lot, very end, we have to put a stage there for the entertainment too.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be great.
Actually, the schools, I don't get to see them, you know, parents do.
Yeah.
Build your character around.
Yeah.
Like a little man, little plane.
I like that. That's a good one.
How important would you say is the land planning 20 years out? For instance, you got a comp plan now that was done 1985, and it showed commercial out on the west side, light industrial, because they didn't want housing at that time, and now it's all switched, the public have switched.
Yeah.
How important is it that we figure out exactly where we want to be, because all these people are outside are planning around what that plan says, and if we don't like what that, and it's on our plan, we can't fight them because they're going to tell you it's in your plan.
Yeah.
So how do you fix that?
Well,
Maybe that's the easier question.
yeah, maybe there's a couple things in there. Maybe the nuances would be, one, a land use plan is important. It's only important though if you enforce it. So you do have to use it to evaluate the developments that come in. So I would say, first of all, looking at a plan from 85, 2005, 2008, I mean, things have changed radically. Things have changed since 2015. So these plans, when we write them to be a 20-year vision, I often recommend, and we'll talk about this in the final chapter, the implementation chapter, although this is a 20-year vision, you should not wait 20 years to reevaluate and update this land use plan. I think that's a big mistake a lot of communities make. I mean, think about where we were in 2004. It was a radically different place. I would imagine that in 2044, we're going to be in a different place. So that's the first part of the question is, yes, land use plans are important. They message to both the people that own the property and those that want to invest and potentially develop what you are expecting to see there. If your zoning code aligns with it, that's also very important. You can do a great land use plan. If you don't update your code and they're in conflict, you create a lot of issues. So you gotta update your code. The third part is you gotta stick to the plan. So if someone comes in and wants to develop something that is very inconsistent with the plan, and I'm all for flexibility, but if it's very inconsistent with the plan, you need to say no. Because if you let it go, you've set a precedent, and now the land use plan is devalued. So it's important to have the plan, it's important to update your zoning code, and it's important to stick to the plan. That's my perspective. That's how we'll write the plan. And don't sit on it for 20 years. Make sure you're coming back to it every 5 years and update it. You don't have to rewrite the whole thing, but you do need to update the land use plan. Things are going to change. So just be current. My perspective. Anybody else? Specific project, specific action? All right, last one. So we normally spend a lot of time talking about the issues, and there's a lot of issues that we know we got to address. But I want to end on what's working. What are your strengths here in Manhattan? What are your community assets? When you talk about and you're bragging about where you live, how do you talk about that with other people that are outside of Manhattan? We talk about this for a couple of reasons. One, it's easy to really focus on the problems and the issues, but you have things that we want to build off of. You have strengths that we want to make sure that we incorporate into the plan. There's things that you're doing, we want to say continue or encourage to do this in the future. The other thing is we start writing these plans. We don't want to break something that's working. So if it's working really well, I don't want to come in and kind of rewrite everything and go a different direction. So it's helpful for us to know what you see as the community assets or what you see as the strengths. So same thing, please write these down, but just shout them out popcorn style. It's helpful.
Really good schools?
Good schools.
Although it's not Manhattan, I think we're known for the Round Barn.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be Manhattan soon, but.
Friendly people.
Yeah, friendly people. That's what you said. Yeah, friendly people. Yeah.
It's been all my life I've been doing this. Like people I see in town here, I look around, they're doing this, that. I don't ever talk to them. Do me a hand, okay, walking me a hand.
Yeah.
Oh, who doesn't?
Yeah. I mean, you both touched on it, right? Very friendly. Yeah.
Didn't tell them we're trustee, but it's a friendly town.
Definitely the people who live here, and then also our police department does a wonderful job of helping keep our community safe and help our residents be aware of what's going on.
Okay, good.
I'm going to go with, both what Dave said and Tommy. I mean, the residents really are unique, and I know a lot of towns probably sit there and tell you that. But we are a really good group of people, a white collar and blue collar mixing pot. Everyone has a common like, which is being outside and being friendly with their neighbors. So we have a really nice, good small town vibe, and I still think you can maintain that as you grow.
Yeah.
If you correctly position yourself to put the right development in here, the right type of development.
Yeah, we agree. That small town charm, some people try to grow out of it, and some people that's extremely important. And you can write a plan to support that and keep that tradition going. So it's not like you have to give that up if you grow.
Also, it's very beautiful here.
Yeah.
It's a pretty town to live in and to raise your family. It's just the trees and the nature, it's just the trail, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great. Anybody else? Strength, asset? How about you? No, go ahead.
I was just saying, to add on to everybody's already saying, the location, we have a lot of good assets and our location in general, but the Midday Wind is right down the street.
Yeah.
We have Abraham Lincoln Cemetery, and there's a lot of good assets around, so our location is a very good location, amongst everything else.
All right. Anybody else want to share one? One final thought?
Underutilize the things that are free to us. How do
Sure.
How do we
Work together with those.
Yeah, I mean, how do you market that and make sure people know it's there, and how do we build, help that?
Yeah, that's an aspect of the comprehensive plan that's probably newer to comprehensive plans, but just telling your story, right? Like promote yourself. I think that's a thing that's hard for some villages to do, is you do need to kind of promote yourself, tell your story, get people interested in why they should move here. And you do, to your point, you have a lot of assets that do draw people in. School districts, park districts. It's clearly a friendly community. I mean, that's the kind of stuff people are looking for if they want to start a family or move to a new place. So that's great. All right, well, with that, we're going to collect these sheets, so if you want to get any final thoughts down, if you want to take a photo, that's great. Again, really appreciate you letting us kind of take over your board meeting tonight. This is help for us. We're really excited to kick off the project and get going here. We'll see you a couple more times through the process. Hopefully we see maybe some of you at the business workshop tomorrow. Definitely all of you at the visioning workshop tomorrow night. Everybody at the visioning workshop tomorrow night. And then one last thing before you go, and I think I said this, but I just want to make sure. Please tell everyone you know and like 20 more people about the visioning workshop. Get the word out. We want to leverage your contacts. Use your socials, whatever you can, to get people out there and joining us. It's a fun event. It's a great way to help kind of plan the vision out for what you want to see in the next 20 years. It'll be good. Yep.
I just had a question too. I know you mentioned traffic, so I don't know. Can you talk about that? Is there something that you could do to analyze some of the traffic studies that have been in the area and how that could be kind of configured into the comp plan? Or should we do a totally different add-on study?
So I definitely two different avenues here. The first thing is, as part of a comprehensive plan, so I'm not a traffic engineer, our team doesn't do that, but we will assess the traffic studies that are out there and start to kind of coalesce this all into, here's the direction you could go with your transportation patterns based on what you've been planning for in the past. I do think there's some plans out there in the past that are probably obsolete at this point. So I think the first thing is assess what you have. Is this the direction that we'd want to go based on where the future land use is likely to head, and are you going to be able to meet the capacities here? Are we thinking about all the different ways that you'd route, 52 as an example? Our current roadways looking like their capacity is just never gonna meet enough, so we gotta upgrade that. So there's things like that we can talk about. That's the assessment side. If it gets to a point where we feel like the land use is going to so significantly impact, that is when I would say you would want to bring on a transportation planner or transportation engineer. I'd say it's 50-50 on our comprehensive plans. Sometimes we have a sub on, and sometimes we don't. I think where it warrants and you have transportation issues, I would certainly consider it. Based on the fact that a lot of what we've been talking about revolves around transportation and infrastructure. I would say after our existing conditions would be a good time to make that probably decision of, do we go off of this assessment that we've prepared, or do we need to get a more detailed study to time out with the land use plan, and they should work together. So that would be my thoughts. We can do the assessment of, here's what it currently is, here's what we're seeing from all these different plans. These are some of the trouble points that we can already see. Here's some plan recommendations that we've heard from public input and even just our field work. And we know the land use plan is going to so significantly change the uses here and the intensity that you're going to have to upgrade these roads. And I think at that point you'd want to decide, all right, we need more information than just this high-level policy. We would want to bring on a transportation sub, so that's something we can do. And we have people that we work with. You could go to an open bid, whatever you'd prefer to do. But there's some subs that we work with in this region who I think would be able to do exactly what you're looking for. So
when you say, I'm just trying to see how much time you actually put in the specific transportation side of it. When you say you evaluate, do you evaluate like CMAP?
Yeah.
Do you evaluate other studies out there with details, road connections and turn lanes, and how in-depth do you get?
If you're starting to get into a transportation study, so a more detailed study, and that might be warranted, and if that's the direction you want to go, that's not what we do, and that's not what's in the comprehensive plan scope. But if it is a direction you want to go, again, we could bring someone on as part of our team, or you could go out to a bid. I guess the caution would be, depending on how you time this out, you want to make sure that this aligns with the land use plan to the extent that it can. Or just know when you go out to bid, if you do that, just say, we're currently preparing a comprehensive plan. It's going to need to, your recommendations are going to need to align with and kind of help justify or support what we think these future land uses should be. It's not uncommon. Sometimes transportations are done first, the plan. Sometimes they're almost like parallel. Sometimes they're after. So it just depends.
So how do you do a comprehensive plan when you don't know, you're not taking into consideration what other towns are doing in terms of traffic? For instance, if Joliet starts dumping all these trucks our way, we want to plan, let's say we want a state residential bumped up against here, but it doesn't support the plan because they're putting warehouses. Now we need to buffer this with something.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I mean, you have,
Yeah,
shouldn't you take all that into consideration to give us an assessment of what you think we should be planning?
Yeah, I think, well, those are two different comments. So what you're saying is what their future land use plan is going to be is a consideration. We're working off of old news. I mean, we're working off of a comprehensive plan that they're in the process of updating. So we're gonna need to coordinate with Joliet, just like you're gonna wanna coordinate with some other municipalities around you. Yeah, but you're really going off of what they're planning on being there. They could change their mind too. So you gotta be adaptable and be ready for that. Yeah, exactly.
Point, but I think maybe you went a little bit too far with the example, but I get what you're getting at. Like, shouldn't we be planning on what the road count's gonna be, the traffic count's gonna be on
Right.
the road? Regardless if it's North Point or just
Yeah.
an airport comes into Peatone.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, how do you prevent from putting residential home next to what could be eventually a highway? Like,
How do you prevent, well, part of that is knowing, well, okay, so that's what I was saying. So
Or
it's
whatever,
land
just-
use
or
first, yeah.
commercial.
So it's land use first. You need to know the direction that this community wants to go with its land use inside its municipal boundaries and inside the planning area. And then having a better or general understanding of what the surrounding areas are due. Again, though, you're going off of where their plan is today, and they're in the process, like Joliet, we know, is in the process of updating their comprehensive plan. So that's gonna be a coordination effort. We gotta talk to their planners about the direction they see some of these areas going, and it's the information they share that you're using. The traffic counts, that again is based on what are we talking about? Are they doing a dense version of residential on the other side? Are they doing heavy industrial? So we only have the information that they can provide to us and the direction we think it's gonna go, and then the road capacity would be aligned to that.
You said some words, I don't remember right now, but some wording like, that, of course, we're worried about ourselves within our town first, and then you're gonna look into generally what they do. Well, the outside forces really affect what we are gonna do.
Okay. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
That's my beliefs, and I think it's been said in a couple different ways here, but so.
Manhattan's a balloon, and Joliet pushes here, we gotta push out here. Everything's fluid, everything moves. We're not rigid in a box. We can't just say, we're gonna put this here and then have them do this and just.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be help setting up our land use plan. What are we planning on this section over here? What are we planning on the east side by
Again,
Sheer Road, you know, it's gonna be 10-acre lots?
No,
And
it's not too soon. You're conflating two different issues, I guess is what I'm saying. We bounce between transportation and land use. So let's focus on land use. If it's land use planning that you want to evaluate based on what the adjacent communities are doing, we can do that. But that assumes that you've already lost the annexation discussion. And part of this plan is going to provide a recommendation about how you annex and get that way so you can set the boundary and lock it in, and these are the uses that you want. Part of the plan could also be, all right, we are not going to be able to annex there, and if we don't, the assumption is Joliet does. These are the uses we think they're going to put there. That might impact our transportation pattern down the line, and also pushing us to put different uses on the east side and towards the southwest. So there's systems in play here, but we can't forecast the capacity of the roads until we better understand the uses that they're going to do. But we're also giving up part of that, in that we're not going to go that way for use. And I think we're saying we're going to try to push out to the northwest to the best that we can, and these are the uses that we think are appropriate. I do think those uses, though, are going to be somewhat consistent with what's happening in Joliet. Otherwise, you're going to have two very, very conflicted type of uses adjacent to each other. So we have a sense of what you want to do in your planning area. You don't necessarily 100% know the direction they're going to go. North Point, yes. North Point, no. If it's not North Point, is it another industrial or commercial user? Is it residential? Those are factors that we need to consider, because that would definitely change the traffic pattern and the capacity in that area. If that makes sense, okay.
So you got a plan for the worst, hope for the best.
Pretty much, yeah.
Apartment building, you have 5 spots for parking. You know, it's not gonna do us any good.
Yeah.
So we wanna expand, we wanna make it a nicer downtown, a comprehensive plan and everything else. And if we don't do a traffic study, what's happening right now, and what's gonna happen around us, they got a $17 billion project going on I-80, not counting Laraway Road, the bridge is being built. That's gonna affect us soon.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't disagree, yeah.
We got, you know what, North Point is marching forward. And we gotta figure in the worst possible scenario for transportation into this town.
Okay.
We already know.
It's already been approved. Joliet's approved their annexation agreement with North Point, and they have up to 30 million square feet of warehousing.
Right.
That's already planned. So, I mean, I think it's a big deal. And so that's, what I'm trying to find out is this a separate, to me, it's a separate issue, because North Point and the city of Joliet and their plans, but then you have the Laraway traffic going on 4 lanes, Wilmington Peatone study, Calgary Road study. So you got all these studies that are going on around Manhattan. And Manhattan doesn't have one single study. Not that we necessarily should be the ones doing some of these studies. We have nobody, the state, the county, nobody's doing studies on our roads.
Right, nobody's advocating for your transportation pattern, yes.
So we need that study, traffic studies and those studies, so we can work for grants. We can talk to our leaders, the state, the county and all that.
Yeah, so again, I agree. I mean, if that's the direction you're gonna go, we're gonna assess what traffic discussions and traffic studies have been prepared up to this point. We're not doing a detailed traffic study as part of our comprehensive plan scope. It's not a part of what it is.
We need that detailed study. We need to know the traffic numbers, what they're planned, someone that knows warehousing and what potentials of how many trucks can come by, how many bobtailing they call it, how many containers, how many parking.
And even more so, you need alternatives. I mean, it's not just one thing. It's going to be a scalable discussion, kind of like a slider scale of it could be this or it could be that. And if it is, how does this roadway time out? And then the bigger issue, and this is something we talked about earlier, is if you have a capital improvement plan that you start putting in place, you have to decide about how and when you want to fund certain roadways and either be ahead of that development to support it, or if you want to be reactive to development that's coming on. And either way, it's either a cost up front or it's a frustration until you solve the issue. So you gotta pick.
I got 2 final questions, kind of related to this one. So if we were to do a traffic study, I know you guys don't do it, would it be helpful?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not absolutely necessary.
Is it the best practice?
It would be helpful, yes. But it's an additional cost. But it's,
I understand.
Yeah, but it's something I would consider. Ideally, you would do it at the same time. That would be, I mean, if we could get someone on board soon, and honestly, for how they would plug into what we're doing. Ideally, you have someone on board in the next couple of months because they got to do some of their due diligence. We're going to line up, and by fall, we're on path. We have a land use plan direction. We understand the traffic pattern capacities now, and then they're going to start to forecast. Okay, well, if all these other uses coming around you are going to do this, and the roadways are going to get upgraded based on all these different studies, you need to be focusing on this. The city should be, or the village should be funding this. You should know that the county can do this. You should know that the DOT has their plans for that. So just as a point.
And then,
That's it.
I agree. That's what I kind of thought too. Final question was, so you made a comment like you don't want to do 2 separate things in the same planning area of ours, and you say Joliet. Is that correct?
I'm not sure. I might have said that.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
sorry.
No, and I don't think you probably meant it the exact way you said it, but I personally don't want to say, well, just because North Point's coming, that we're going to zone it, for like that type of industrial.
Oh, okay.
I would like to find out ways to either buffer it, whether it's open space, or maybe it's commercial, like retail.
Okay.
I would not like to just say, hey, let's just do similar because
They're doing it, right.
Because I think that also maybe positions us a little bit better if Joliet does annex into our area, maybe they'll respect our wishes with our plan and do commercial, possibly. I don't know, but if you say it's gonna be warehouses, it's a hard argument to argue with them, saying, well, we're gonna do it if you don't do it.
Yeah. I'm not saying that you would, okay, I see what you're saying. So let's assume there's a hard line, they're gonna do whatever use they're gonna do, likely industrial or warehouse, whatever it might be. You could prioritize commercial or service up in that area. You gotta think about market, who's gonna use it. A lot of daytime users, they might not be buying on site or in region. So you could have some nodal uses, but the buffer uses or the open space, I mean, that comes down to either the Forest Preserve's property or the villages, because we can't call something a park if the village isn't going to buy it, because you're setting the stage for a direction you don't want to go. But yeah, I mean, that buffer of uses, if it's land buffer, if it's a preservation easement, whatever it might be, we can explore it. The likelihood about how valuable that land's about to come or be if North Point goes is obviously probably one of the biggest challenges you're facing there. It's why annexation is so difficult. So prioritizing annexation and getting those agreements in place is critical. So it's something you got to work on. And we'll talk about that in the plan for sure. Yep. Anybody else? Final thoughts? That was good.
I appreciate it. I know it's kind of a twofold here, but so are we, I'm just trying to, I don't want to overspeak. Are we in agreement that we should separate these things? Or?
I wonder, because when we went to qualifications for bid, there was an attached firm with you.
Yep.
That was one of the only ones that went, and they do transportation, right?
They do, yep.
So we don't need to necessarily go for qualifications to bid again, I don't think. That's check with legal, but we can probably get a price from them right away, and they already work with them, and they already did the qualifications. So then we can maybe just decide if we want to hire them to do it right now with them, like was originally planned, but seemed to fall through the cracks somehow, so. Well, I don't know, that's what I'm saying, they already did it. We already-
Well, RFQ and RFPs are different things.
That's what I just want to make sure, I'm just saying that they did submit with them. Well, they submitted with them, so that's what I mean.
They submitted a price?
No.
They just said they were qualified to do it.
Yep. And then they come with a scope and
Yeah.
a proposal. But I'm just saying, for time restraints, I'm not saying, we gotta make sure legal is okay with it, but I mean, that's something we can look into if the board wants. We can look into that and see if we can contact legal, Mark, and look into that. And if that works, that's an option, or we just go back out to RFQ.
Yeah, and I would set some pretty strong parameters about what you're trying to accomplish here with the transportation component of this, and be really specific about how it plugs into the plan. So that might be a more selfish concern, but just want to make sure that what they're doing achieves the goals of obviously what the board wants, but also can tie into and support the land use plan component of this. That'd be critical. So yeah, we would support that. I mean, whatever decision you do, whoever you bring on, if they're qualified, they'll be able to do this work, no problem. So.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of data out there in many forms
Yeah.
around us, and it's taking that data for starters and evaluating, analyzing the data and how it affects.
Yeah, and there's some pretty straightforward issues that are somewhat easy and kind of best practice to address in the plan. You have some pretty significant transportation impacts. I mean, it's clearly one of the top two issues that we keep hearing. So I think there's a need to bring on someone who specializes in this and can support the direction that we want to take the plan. So, okay. Any other final questions, thoughts for us? No, I think we kept you over our time. I'm sorry, but thank you. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you for giving us your time today, and look forward to working with you over the next, 10 months.
Yep, thank you.
Lucy, do you have anything? Justin?
Just congratulations, Jeff and Ryan. Best of luck. Let us know how we can help you guys. I know there's really no one here, but they may watch this later. Heritage Festival for the Park Districts this weekend, and I'm not going to steal Shelley's update. I'm sure she's going to give you. And then I had asked Carrie earlier about some of the projects and the timelines of them. I guess they're coming along pretty quickly here, and we'll have some bids and stuff soon. Which is, she didn't say Eastern. She said
Baker and the water mains, sorry.
yeah, Baker Road, the MFT money, stuff like that. And she said Eastern is obviously in its works, but so I was happy to hear that. So yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thanks. Bob?
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's it.
Dave?
Welcome.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Welcome. Congratulations. I think I said enough today. You want me to keep you another 3 hours?
Thank you. Ron?
Of course, congratulations and congratulations. Just one quick thing that's been brought up a couple times to me. I know, we all know how bad Eastern Avenue is, so I won't go too deep. The culverts with the blocks, they're now sticking out so far. I'm getting complaints, people are hitting their rims on the edge. Can we put some type of reflective tape or something on the bottoms? Maybe it'll help, maybe not, but maybe any other ideas you got. But yeah, the way they're leaning over, the ends are sticking out really fine. And yeah, gotten 2 complaints so far.
All right, yeah, get some reflecting tape on there and we'll put it on.
Something, paint or whatever works, yeah.
Thanks. Tom?
Congratulations, Chief, huh? And how's Apollo doing?
He's doing amazing. He passed national certification today.
Dog just, what kind of dog was it?
German Shepherd Pointer.
Oh, boy.
No, the one up there.
That was a pit bull.
Oh, I didn't know.
Man, oh, man.
You gonna
Jeff?
put it next to you at the meetings?
Yeah.
Your old nameplate?
And Jeff, here you go. Starting a new thing.
Yep.
Congratulations. And that's about it for me.
Thanks. Shelley?
I just wanted to let everybody know the garage sale maps are ready. We have 109 households participating. And then cruise night is next Wednesday. Don't forget to come out for that. And I want to thank our sponsors, Kevin Malloy, State Farm Insurance, Manhattan Collision Center, and First Bank of Manhattan. They're sponsoring the third show, or the June show. That's it.
Thanks. Jeff?
I'd like to thank the mayor and the village board for appointing me to the position of village administrator, and look forward to serving the board and the community of Manhattan.
Thanks.
I would like to throw something in here. You know, you mentioned about Eastern Avenue, and I knew that Jeff is going to be the new administrator. So on the way back, he rode on the back of my golf cart on Eastern. I had to stop, he threw up over the wall, and then we continued. And so, you know, it's a priority there, thanks.
I only fell off twice.
That's a bad shape.
Mark?
Just reiterating the community visioning workshop tomorrow, 6 to 7:30. It's been on Facebook a couple times. I think we're going to probably post it tomorrow as well. It was also on the water bills. So we hope to get as many people as we can there.
John?
We started like a mosquito abatement program today. So what we're doing is going around a bunch of the drains and dropping in these biscuits that kill all the larvae inside of that are growing in there. So hopefully that'll help the residents this year in the backyards.
All right, thanks. Glenn?
I have nothing at this time except congratulations, congratulations.
Chief?
Just like again to thank the Village Board of Trustees and the Mayor for this opportunity. Promise not to let you down. And then remind everyone that June 15th, next Saturday, is the Bike with a Cop at the Manhattan Police Department. Sergeant Redlick and supporting staff have done a tremendous job with the wonderful donations of the businesses and residents of this town. They should be raffling off close to 25 to 30 bikes, I believe, and biking through a subdivision with Sergeant Redlick and a few of our bicycle officers as well. Look forward to seeing everybody there.
All right, thanks. No one, legal's not here, so motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.